All right, guys, what's happening? What's happening? Happy Thursday to you. It's Thursday, January 27th, 2022. This morning, we're going to talk about one of the biggest takeaways that everyone had from the Top Contractor School Inner Circle Retreat this past weekend, and that is the power of communication. Yesterday on our Inner Circle call, we went through, talked about everyone's takeaways, and the word communication was used repeatedly as just something that everyone felt like, regardless of how good the communication has been in their lives and their companies, that they could get much better at communicating. And so we're gonna unpack some of that this morning. How do you communicate? What does that look like? How can you improve it? What does it look like when there's great communication, which leads to great culture within a business? Let's get started. It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up. All right, guys, welcome back. It's good to be here with you guys this morning. As you can see behind me out there, there's a little snow in Pittsburgh, but it is also, it was -9 degrees when I left my house this morning, which was pretty crazy. It's supposed to get a little bit warmer here in the coming hours. So I think it's going to be up to a balmy 9 degrees positive here within a few hours. But man, it is good to be home. It's good to be here with you guys. Good to be back in my normal habitat, although it is frigid outside. Still grateful for this place and love the city that I get to live in and the people that I get to surround myself with here. So this morning, guys, we're going to talk a lot about communication, about what communication does in a business, what it does in your life, and how you can engineer the right communication around you in every aspect of your life. And how important that is and how impactful it is when you have open communication and what it does for every relationship, for a business relationship, a friendship, a marriage. All of those things require incredible communication. And so that's what we're going to unpack this morning. I'm going to tell you guys my experiences in being part of organizations that didn't have great communication and how those scenarios impacted me and inspired me to find ways to improve communication in every aspect of my life, and then what it looks like when you have great communication. Because the other part that I've learned here over the last probably year or so is that people believe that people that talk a lot or people that are telling you something, that is good communication, and that's not the truth. There are signals and signs of what communication that can be negative but looks very positive can be, because there's a lot of ways that people communicate that allow you to kind of fall into a trap, right? That allow you to feel like you're in the right place when in all reality, you're actually in the wrong place. And I've been in that scenario in my life. So I'm going to share a lot of that with you guys this morning. But first, I want to kick it off saying good morning to some folks. We got a whole bunch of people on here this morning. Mr. Daniel good morning to you, brother. It is definitely frigid, man. I'm sure it's frigid where you are, too. You're not too far from us. So Dayton Packard, brother, we still need to connect, man. Give me a call. Shoot me a text. Let's connect, brother. Let's catch up. Trisha, Gary, Tony Grout, good morning to you, man. David Martin, a lot warmer in Orlando than it is here, brother. I hope you're staying warm there, although it is chilly in Florida right now, too, I believe. So Ryan Caddy, what's happening, brother? Good morning to you. Trudy, Randy, Rick, Christina, Mike Rosgoni. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I got to speak to some young ladies that Mr. Rosgoni, who is the principal of my junior high school from my hometown, got to speak to some young ladies playing basketball yesterday morning via FaceTime because of Mr. Rosgoni. So thank you, brother, for the opportunity to do that and hopefully impact those young ladies. Cisco, good morning, brother. Good to see you on here, man. I think Cisco's in Orlando too, man. You guys should connect. Todd, good morning. Rick, man, we got people pouring in here. Tina, Scott, my wife is on here. Good morning to you guys. And man, happy Thursday. I hope you guys are already having a great morning. So what is good communication? What does it actually look like? What I will say is that Don't allow communication, the word communication. Don't allow yourself to lump that in with talking, with the idea of talking. Communication is not talking. Talking is talking. And so when you find yourself in a situation where someone on the other side of the desk, someone on the other side of the phone, somebody on the other side of a Zoom call or one of these things, when somebody is not doing a lot of listening, but they're doing a lot of talking, that is not communication. Communication is two ways, right? It is in and out. It's giving and receiving. And so when you look at communication from a business level, from a personal level, it requires two parties to openly be communicating back and forth. And so when you see communication inside of companies, inside of businesses, a lot of times, many times, I have seen this become a one-way street. And that is from the top down. The top of the organization, the leadership of the organization wants to send messages down, but they do not want to receive messages, or at least they don't realize, they're unaware that they are doing things, that they are behaving in ways that makes people feel like they don't want to hear what they have to say, that those people are not supposed to be heard. They're supposed to be seen and do things, right? They're supposed to complete tasks and stay quiet. Many times you'll hear people say that they were the child of parents that thought they should be seen, not heard. And so that is incorrect, right? Children are meant to be taught to communicate. They're meant to be able to express themselves and tell people how they feel and openly communicate with their parents, all of those things, how they feel, what they're going through. All of that is a requirement to be a great parent. It's also a requirement to be a great leader in business. And so one of the things that we pride ourselves on at the Pavement Group is having a company that is really open in communication. That's really, we encourage people to speak their mind. We encourage people to bring issues to the table. We encourage people to tell us how it can be done better. And that is not coming from me. That is something that our team shared this weekend. I am very proud to hear that when people say that, because while we are far from perfect, that is something that we really take seriously. We want people to be able to feel heard and understood, and that their feelings matter, and that no matter what it is that they are going through, whether it's personal, professional, anything, they can bring it to us within our organization. And the culture that we aspire to build here makes them better as a person first, and then in their job second. And so I want to repeat that for you, because the true definition of open communication creates a great culture. And a great culture, Tricia and I just had this conversation yesterday. A great culture makes someone better as a person, as an individual. They feel better as a human being. They feel more confident. They feel more worthy. They have more self-confidence. And so as a result of that, they become a better employee. But don't get those two mixed up. It's not about making someone the best employee so that you can benefit. It's about having a positive impact on their life so that in turn, the company benefits by them showing up better, by them being a better person, feeling better about themselves, feeling like they're getting somewhere, like this position and this team that they're a part of actually makes their life better. And when you achieve that, at the core of that, at the foundation of it, is the culture of the business and the communication within the business tied together. Those two things go hand in hand. And so what does open communication look like? It looks like anybody in the company can approach anybody in the company with a challenge, with an opportunity, with a way to do something better. And it is not just accepted, but it is listened to deeply, without a phone in your hand texting somebody else, but 100% focus on what it is that this person is telling you. Is everybody perfect at that? Absolutely not. Very challenging to do, but I'm telling you what it looks like when it's done best. It means that we listen to people. They feel seen, they feel heard, and they feel appreciated because of how communication is given and received. And so ask yourself this question within your company, within your organization, within your family. Do you have things in place that allow for great communication? Ask yourself the question. Do you have things in place? Have you consistently asked for feedback? Because let me tell you something. This weekend was a great example. I just said this on our call yesterday. I said, guys, when we ask for feedback about the event, we are not asking for everything that went right. We are genuinely asking for the things that you guys want to see differently in the next one. Sometimes you have to beg people and make it very clear that you want to hear the negatives, the suggestions, the things that they didn't like, because we are conditioned in this world to shut up and do our jobs, to only provide feedback when it's really relevant. Whether it's communicated verbally or by body language, many people in this world are closed off to real feedback. And what I'm going to tell you guys is this: communication in a business is at the core of how successful you will be. If you do not have communication, if you are working for someone that doesn't want to hear the negatives, they don't literally seek out the negatives so that they can get better, so that the event can get better, so your company can get better, your family can get better. If you don't ask your children what it is that they want to do differently in your family, then you will never know how to get better. You'll never know how to get better as a father, as a mother, as a leader, as a person that throws events. You will never, ever be able to experience it. Truly, the pinnacle of where you're trying to go, you will never experience it, because it is communication that allows us to get there. It's the words that people have deep down in their soul that they want to tell you, that they're afraid to tell you, or that they're hesitant to tell you. Could be that they're hesitant to tell you because of someone else that they worked for in the past who made them feel like sharing their true feelings about something was not okay. And so it is our job as leaders to work with those people, to make them feel comfortable. It might take a year. It might take 2 years to make them feel comfortable enough to truly share how they feel, to truly share the feedback of what their experience is like working for your company, what their experience is like being your son or daughter. But it is our job as leaders in this world, as leaders of our family, as leaders in business, to make communication a top priority. Because when we communicate, we get better. When we are open to conflict and to communication that involves things that we don't want to hear, deep down it hurts to hear those things, right? Sometimes it's tough to hear. But when we seek those things out, when we seek out the discomfort of true feedback, that is how communication gets better. Now let's talk about what it looks like when you feel like you're involved in great communication. You have somebody that talks a lot. They communicate, that they're talking a lot, and they believe that's communication. But in all reality, they're talking at you, not with you. I've worked for people like this. I've worked with people like this. And they believe they're great communicators because they're great orators. In some cases, they're great manipulators. And they control the narrative by what they say. Communication can be a weapon as much as it can be a resource. And so when somebody is always trying to control the narrative, you ever watch somebody online and you're like, man, why is this guy or this girl spending so much time trying to convince me of who they are? Get that feeling? You're probably right. Because people that control the narrative have something to hide. Be aware of that. Be aware of that. And don't be afraid to state it. I have actually said this to people in the kindest way that I can. Who are you trying to convince, me or yourself? Because you continue to repeat the same thing over and over and over and over again. And it makes me feel as if it might not be true. That there's just a tad bit of insecurity. Anybody ever work for somebody or with somebody like that? Drop it in the comments. Those people, guys, you have to be careful. Communication can be a weapon. You have to be careful, and you have to make sure that the people that you are surrounded by share the same values, share the same principles. They actually care about what it is that you have to say. Because when they care, you will care. You will care more. And the elevation of how much you care, how much that rises within an organization, will dictate how healthy the culture can be, how far you can go, how fast you can go, how fast you can overcome problems. And truly, when you get back to life, meaning you get home to your children, you get home to your husband or your wife, you're actually in a much better mood because you don't have to hold everything in at work all day long. At home, your children don't have to hold everything in fear of what they're going to tell mom and dad and how it's going to be received. The power of communication, guys, is real. Use it in the most positive way possible. Use it as something that changes people's lives, something that makes people better, something that makes people feel heard and seen and appreciated, not as the weapon that some people use it as. I hope this message was helpful. I hope that it helps you understand how powerful communication is, how valued it is to people when they feel heard and understood and appreciated, how much better everything in their life and your life will get as a result of it. Communication is at the foundation of trust. When people feel understood, they feel heard, and their pain, whether it's pain or a perspective or whatever it is, when somebody is dialed into that and they really care, they're listening to understand, truly listening to understand, not listening to respond, everything will change in that relationship. So go practice this today. Be a better listener today. Communication is a two-way street. Make sure that you are not just being the person that gives communication, but one that receives it. Thank you, Tina, for sharing that. Thank you, Cisco. Thank you, Trudy. Trisha, I know it. Experienced it myself. So thank you guys for being here. I hope this message hit somebody today, and it's going to make a difference in somebody's lives. Go listen to your kids today. Ask them questions. Shut up and listen and watch what happens. I love you guys. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.